Hi everyone, it's Rachel back with the Shades of Orange, and today I want to do a collab video sharing some of my favorite science fiction booktubers recommending some of their favorite adult science fiction books. Now, I've done a similar video like this talking about horror booktubers, and I did get requests to do the same thing for science fiction. You know that I love horror, but I also really love science fiction. And I've heard before that it's hard to find other creators on BookTube that read at least a good portion of science fiction. There's a lot more fantasy online. I don't think that that one is as underserved, but when it comes especially to adult science fiction, it can be difficult to find those reviewers that are actively making videos. So I hope this will be a good resource for you, not only to find more books for you to check out, but also more channels to follow. I love all of these channels, so I'm just going to put them all in alphabetical order, so I'm not choosing between my favorites. Of course, I will have links down below if you want to go check out their channels afterwards. Thank you so much to everyone who participated, and let's get started.
Hello, I'm Becky M. I am a science fiction and fantasy lover from the UK, and my channel is pretty much a pile of science fiction and fantasy topped off with a slice of Stephen King. I'm here today to introduce you to one of my favourite underrated science fiction books, and it is so criminally underrated. I really hope more people end up reading this, and this is Embers of War by Gareth L. Powell. It's the first book of a completed trilogy, and all three books are available. In Embers of War, we meet Trouble Dog, a sentient warship who is disgusted by the part she has had to play in a genocide. Stripped of her weapons, she joins the House of Reclamation. On a mission, they receive a distress signal, and in order to save everyone, Trouble Dog must learn to fight again. Of course, secrets and things are discovered, and we have the play out over the entire trilogy. So the trilogy starts with Embers of War, Book 2 is Fleet of Knives, and it concludes with Light of Impossible Stars. So not only do we get to know Trouble Dog, who is the sentient warship, and we get to know all her backstory and how she has ended up where she is, we also have a wonderful wealth of characters that we get to know. Sal Constance is the captain of Trouble Dog in the House of Reclamation, and she has an amazing story herself from the start of Embers of War through to the end of Light of Impossible Stars. The chapters are short, it's a fairly fast read, it's so thoroughly absorbing, and I think it's a good place to start if you're looking at getting more into the science fiction genre, because even though it contains faster than light travel, which obeys internally consistent rules, which we always appreciate, and there's sentient spaceships and battles and giant planet-sized structures, there is so much focus on getting to know the characters that the science fiction element doesn't overwhelm the character development. Also, Gareth L. Powell's a lovely bloke. I accidentally met him one day. We ran into each other outside a bookshop. So I highly recommend Embers of War, and actually the entire trilogy is just wonderful.
Hello bookworms, my name's Jade, and you can find me on my channel Bedtime Bookworm. I'm primarily a fantasy reader, but I do also read and enjoy the genres of science fiction, horror, historical fiction, and a smattering of others. I also read from both the adult and YA categories. Today I'm here to talk to you about my favorite science fiction book. My favorite science fiction book, and the one that I often recommend to people looking to get into science fiction, is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Dark Matter is an adult science fiction thriller, so it does combine a couple of my favorite genres. The main character of this book is a middle-aged man named Jason. At the beginning, he has a lovely life, he has a job he enjoys, a wife he loves very much, and they have a son together. However, one day he is kidnapped, and he wakes up in a world that is similar but different from what he remembers. In this world, him and his wife never got married, and his son doesn't exist. And the rest of the story is about Jason trying to get his old life back. Not only was this a fun and action-packed story, I really loved the main character Jason and his relationship with his wife and his son, and how hard he was willing to fight to try and get his life back. I recommend this to people all the time because I think that the science in it is fairly accessible, even to people who don't have a lot of experience with science fiction. And also, this book is just really readable. It is such a page-turner, the pacing is great, and it kind of reads like a movie. And I think that makes for a great recommendation, not only for people who don't read a lot of science fiction, but even for just people who don't read a lot. If you do end up picking up this book, I hope you really enjoy it, and I would love to hear what you thought of it. Thanks, Rachel, for including me in this collab. Bye!
Greetings, readers. My name is Scott. You can find me over at the channel Book Invasion, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite sci-fi books, and that is The Humans by Matt Haig. Now, it's not a typical sci-fi read. There's no spaceships, it doesn't take place in space, there's no warfare, so on and so forth. So this book is about a well-meaning professor who's about to solve a mathematical equation, but there's an alien race that's trying to stop it from happening because it would advance technology on Earth too much. So, an alien kind of being inhabits the professor. On the inside, there's no changes outside, and it's about the alien learning about humanity's customs, relationships, their emotional well-being, the different pieces of what it takes to be a human in this professor's body who is married with children and has a dog, and he tries to go about his daily life, learning about that. So what I love most about this book is that it sticks with you in the end, because the final section of it has pieces where the alien kind of reflects, and there's a chapter called Advice for a Human, and it gives kind of lessons to live by that he's learned as his time as a human, and they're kind of emotional. Matt Haig's writing it's very well done on the emotional level, and it teaches you kind of things, so when you're done reading it, you kind of can take those lessons on in your own life and kind of reflect on them, and it kind of bubbles up every now and then, and I think about those rules and advice that he has in this book a lot. So if you're looking for something not so space battle-y and something that still has a tinge of sci-fi with a lot of heart, and it gives you kind of an emotional twist at the end, check out The Humans by Matt Haig. That's my recommendation for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Rachel, for including me in this. Thanks to everyone else who participated. This is a great thing. We can all share some recommendations. So, my name is Scott again. Find me at the channel Book Invasion. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay. My channel name is Final Blow Jay. The book I'm going to recommend to you today is The Stories of Ibis, written by Hiroshi Yamamoto. This is translated Japanese fiction, and the translator is Takami Naida. This was first published in 2006. Now, the synopsis of this is set in a near future Earth where humanity is the smaller or lesser species. Androids now are the dominant species on Earth. We created them, but we didn't give them any rights or options to have their own freedom, so things haven't turned out very well for humans themselves, which is an old tale. Now, the story starts off with an unnamed man, just known as the Storyteller, getting injured, and an android known as Ibis, the name of the book, rescues this storyteller. Whilst they are recovering, they are told 7 stories about human and artificial intelligence tales, and these 7 stories are each unique in their feel and atmosphere. They're all brilliant. They all build up into something far greater than the sum of their parts, as the old saying is concerned. Every story is simply amazing. The overall novel and the concept of it is frankly astonishing, because the writing style is beautiful, the atmosphere and the actual prose of this is simply astonishing, and overall I cannot recommend this novel enough. This is one of my favourite books of 2019, and I've read a lot of good books, so I really would recommend this greatly.
Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and my channel is Kalandi. Today I want to recommend China Mountain Zhang by Maureen F. McHugh. In this novel, McHugh imagines a future where the United States undergoes a socialist revolution and has become a satellite nation of China, which itself is now the dominant world power. The main character is a young man named Zhang. He is gay, which is highly illegal and taboo at this time and place, and he's also American-born Chinese, meaning he's considered kind of a second-class citizen because he's not Chinese enough. And the story is essentially, how does he live and work and love in a world where he's kind of considered to be inferior and has to hide a part of himself. There are other characters in the story as well, and you get this beautiful set of interlocking chapters from different perspectives that shows you not just Zhang's story, but also what this possible future might be like. Part of what I truly love about this book is its structure. It's what's called a mosaic or tapestry novel, so you get those interlocking stories, the viewpoints of multiple people that build up a greater overarching story. I think that China Mountain Zhang is one of the best tapestry novels ever that just perfects that structure. But this is also science fiction about social and political change and its effects on the individual, especially the marginalized individual, rather than being a deep dive into the nuts and bolts of technology and scientific innovation, which I like that in my science fiction too. But I appreciate so much that this novel is about the mundane, the ordinary people, rather than being focused on the powerful, charismatic leaders, the revolutionaries, and the big historic events. And overall, it has always struck me as a very quiet but powerful novel. It is very well balanced, and it's absolutely beautifully written.
Hey everybody, my name's Kay from KtheBookwyrm. The book that I'm going to be recommending for you today is Lock-In by John Scalzi. This is a sci-fi thriller, so it's great for anybody who's looking to maybe get into sci-fi and isn't necessarily ready for a giant space opera or something that's extremely complex in its ideas. This takes place in the near future here on Earth in the United States. There was a flu that kind of struck the world. And in 1% of the people who got this flu, they experience lock-in. So they are fully aware and awake and mentally intact, but they are trapped in their bodies. They cannot move, they cannot speak. The government took great steps to kind of do everything they could, poured a lot of money into research and things for these people. These neural pathways were developed kind of like what you see now, where they implant things in people's brains and then they can control robots. It's that kind of idea. So you have these robot bodies that these people that experience lock-in can connect with and control, and they're called threeps. And that's how they can continue to interact with the outside world. In this story, it's about 25 years after the first wave of this virus, and our main character, Chris Shane, is an FBI agent, and it's his first day on the job. He is a Hayden. So he uses a threep, and on his first or second day, there's a murder involving an integrator, which is someone who got the flu, but did not experience lock-in, but their brain was still altered. So they can actually allow people who are locked in to kind of use their bodies. They can inhabit their bodies for a time, and they get paid, and it's a job. But the whole thing is that any crime involving an integrator or a Hayden immediately comes under the jurisdiction of the FBI and this task force, and that's what the team that he's on. So they go to investigate this murder. It seems like it's going to be pretty cut and dry, but it's not. And as they go along, they discover there's some sort of larger crime, larger conspiracy at work here, and that is really what this book is about. Overall, I really enjoy reading these types of books. John Scalzi in particular, he's a very smart writer. I enjoy the worlds that he creates, and I think it's just a great start if you're looking to get into sci-fi.
How's it going, BookTube? It's Lia Cooper. I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you to Rachel from the Shades of Orange BookTube channel for inviting me to participate in this collab video. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of my all-time favorite adult science fiction novels. This is a book I have reviewed on my channel previously, but that was several years ago, and I haven't really talked about it too much since then, and that is Radiance by Katherine M. Valente. Radiance is not an easy book. It has a lot of set pieces, it has a lot of characters, it has a lot of different timelines and universes happening, but it is fundamentally a story about storytelling. It's a story that takes place in a alternate version of the early 20th century, in a universe where we have colonized the planets, where we move between the stars, where the moon is Hollywood. It is about a famous filmmaking father trying to create the film to tell his daughter's life, she herself a documentarian who died very young. It is the story of Percival Unk shaping and reshaping that story and all of the pieces of her life. It is her life unfolding before us. The realness of it, the fiction of it, the way it changes depending on who's telling it, all in a search to discover how it ended. This book has been described as deco-punk. It is glamorous and creepy, mysterious, befuddling. It's told in 5 parts, and each of those parts is written in a different genre style, because Percival himself can't settle on the best style, the best language in which to tell Severin's story. And it explores how every genre has a different language and how that language changes a story just in the way it's told. It is a story about seeing and being seen, and I hope you check it out.
Hello, I'm Angela, and I'm from the channel Literature Science Alliance. On my channel, I primarily review adult fantasy and science fiction books because those are the books I really do love. So thank you, Rachel, for giving me a chance to recommend one of my favorite science fiction books from last year. And that is The Light Brigade by Cameron Hurley. This is such a cool, non-linear science fiction story. I think's the best way to put it. You have Dietz, who is this woman in the military, and the way people get transported to other planets in this futuristic world is, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but the people who are transported where they get broken down into light and sent off are part of the Light Brigade. But weird stuff happens to people who are transported that way, and we get to follow the perspective of Dietz in this story. And it's very confusing, it's very mysterious, and you have to try and pick up these clues along with Dietz, and that's just my favorite type of science fiction. And we all know that nonlinear storylines can be done very poorly, but this one I just thought was top-notch. And I also really appreciated that Cameron called me out in making me think Dietz was a man for half the story. Dietz is a woman, but in my defense, a pronoun was not used till about halfway through the book. This is nominated for a Hugo Award, and I highly recommend it. You should definitely check it out. It's something that has stuck with me a year after I read it, and I can't say that for every book I come across. So thanks again, Rachel, for letting me be here and share one of my favorite science fiction books.
Hi everyone, Thomas here from SFF 180. Thanks to Rachel for having me. Now, I'm assuming a lot of the other folks in this video are probably offering well-known and very popular science fiction choices, books like Leviathan's Wake or Murderbot, and so my recommendation is going to be a little off the beaten path. Count Zero was the second novel by William Gibson in his loosely connected cyberpunk trilogy about the Sprawl. Neuromancer is the famous one, but Count Zero is the one where his talents had developed to where they met his ambitions. An electrifying action story written with a signature kinetic prose style that very quickly would become known as Gibsonian. There's a lot about the old cyberpunk that feels dated today, but apart from the undeniable influence it's had on popular culture, it's arguable that its impact can be felt in our daily lives. Gibson and the cyberpunks correctly predicted that the future of technology was personal tech, and that the future it was going to deliver was not Star Trek's shining interstellar utopia, but something much more cynical and dystopian. What these stories are saying, in essence, is that this is where capitalism is going to take us. A future where the moneyed classes know things about us even we don't know, and see us only as commodities to be exploited for their own gain. Cyberpunk's heroes, like this book's Turner and Bobby Newmark, might seem like anti-heroes, but they aren't. They're classic rebel archetypes, reskinned for the digital age. Console cowboys taking the fight to the global megacorps. With real-life concerns today about class inequality and the intrusive threat posed to our daily lives by our dependence on information technology, William Gibson's tropes have come full circle over 30 years to being relevant like they never were before.
Hello everyone, this is Shannon from the channel That's So Poe, and I would like to recommend the standalone adult science fiction novel, Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. This book is fantastic in so many different ways. It's got excellent science fiction, a mystery plot, and it addresses really interesting social justice themes. The book takes place on a generational starship where society has devolved into something like the antebellum South, where the upper levels are filled with the rich, the white, the powerful, while the bottom levels are filled with the black, the poor, and the oppressed. We follow Aster, who is a person who lives on the lower levels, is black, is neurodiverse, and non-binary, all of which I believe are own voices for the author Rivers Solomon. Aster is also very unique because they are a doctor and a researcher, which allows them some mobility to move between the levels of the spaceship, and this proves really important because they have to uncover a mystery. Their mother passed away when they were very young, but left behind some journals that are in code, and Aster has begun to uncover this code and learn that there was more involved in their mother's death. And this leads them to an awakening, a journey that moves beyond their own personal concerns to issues of the systemic injustices on the spaceship. And I loved that journey. I loved the messages of this book. I thought it was really, really powerful. I also want to mention that because this is dealing with systemic injustices, there's a lot of heavy content, a lot of content warnings, things like police brutality, physical and sexual abuse, so many things. But because it is told from the perspective of the most oppressed, I found it really empowering. So I highly recommend this book, and I hope you'll give it a try.
Hey everyone, my name is Tori from the channel Tori Morrow, and the science fiction book that I'm recommending to you all is Do You Dream of Terror 2, and this is by Temi O. This is now one of my favorite books of all time. It is one of the best books that I read in 2019, and I think this is perfect. This is a beautiful, beautiful novel. So in this, we are following a team of astronauts, 4 of whom are more experienced, and then we have 6 teenagers who have been training to leave Earth their entire lives. And they embark on this 23-year-long journey from Earth to an Earth-like planet named Terra 2. And in the process of this journey, they just deal with so many different things. It's such an in-depth character study almost. They take a lot of problems from Earth up into space with them, and you just kind of see the way that they deal with those things in such closed quarters. So I really enjoyed this. I think it's a gorgeous novel, and yeah, you have to go out and read this.
So that's it for the video. I hope you found at least a couple new people to follow. Again, links will be all listed down below if you want to go check them out. And I would love to hear what one of your favorite science fiction books is. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share this video because it's a really good way for some of the smaller channels that I included here to get some exposure. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.